You can't trust anyone with your DNA because it has everything about you. And who would be interested in your DNA? It would be health insurance companies. You pay them annually, and in return, they give you insurance. If you're healthy, it's very good for them. If you're not healthy, then they'll be paying more than what they receive. They'll be very interested to find out, is this guy healthy or not? And by knowing your DNA, they will find it out for sure. Also, employers, they'll be interested in someone's DNA because, again, they want to have someone who's healthy. He's not healthy, they might pay him his salary while he's in bed. So that's why DNA tests must be confidential. And as I said, it's becoming super easy. You just order one of those packages on the internet, you literally spit in it, then you pack it again. So you receive this as post, then you put it back and send it back to the company. And then your DNA will be all over the internet. So don't do this. Let's imagine this. A newlywed couple have decided to have a child. So we're on the journey here from the time they got married until the time they have their first child. The best thing to do before having a child is to do what we call carrier tests. What's a carrier test? Simply, you take mouth or inner cheek swab and check the DNA of both parents. When you do this, you have these three possibilities. Mom is healthy, dad is healthy. What do I mean by healthy? They are dominant for all genetic diseases that we have. I mean, they don't have any allele that's recessive for some genetic disorder. Look what I wrote here. I wrote low chance. I did not say 0% chance. Why we never say no chance when it comes to genetic diseases? Two main reasons. One, it's impossible to do a test that covers every single gene in your body. Number two, it's also impossible to guarantee that there is no error. Errors are very likely. Usually, errors fall into two types. What we call false positive. Positive result, if someone says there's a positive result when it comes to some genetic test, that's not a good thing. Positive here means bad. Positive means that the child is sick or the child is likely to be sick in the future. But when I say false positive, meaning I am telling the parents, your child might be likely to have a disease. Reality, it was an error. Okay, so that's false positive. False positive is really bad because some parents might abort this pregnancy for no reason. The child was healthy. And what's the other case of errors? The other error we have here is false negative. What does false negative mean? False negative, you tell them he's healthy, but reality is sick. So that's another error. Due to some mistake, you tell them your child is going to be nearly 100% healthy, but there was an error and he is going to be sick. So that will make the parents get really emotionally disturbed, get shocked when they find out this about their child. Let's assume for a while that they both were carriers. She's telling them that there's a chance of 25% of having the disease. He is scared, mom is worried. So what are we gonna do so that we reduce the chance of having this disorder? Look what we're gonna do. We're gonna offer them pre-implantation test. What does that mean? Implantation is that stage when the fertilized egg gets embedded in the lining of the uterus. That occurs early stages of pregnancy. So look what we're going to do. We are going to collect gametes from mom and dad, and we're going to offer them what we call in vitro fertilization, IVF. In vitro fertilization is you do the fertilization in the lab, sperm and egg, several sperms, several eggs, so we get as many embryos as possible. And then once this fertilized egg is ready, what do we do about it? We're gonna implant it in the uterus. That's the fertilization, all done in the lab. And as I said, we're gonna do as many as possible, several embryos, and then we are gonna check the DNA of those embryos, and we only implant the healthy ones. So implantation, pick and choose the embryos, scan their DNA, check for any recessive alleles, and then only the healthy embryos are going to be implanted and the unhealthy will be discarded. You hear what I've said? So that's one of the issues related to this kind of treatment. Because We're treating embryos as if they are nothing, right? But that's not good, because many people believe that human embryos shouldn't be treated like this. Some other people will think, well, this is for the good for the child in the future, right? So you have both points of view. So again, let's discuss some of these advantages and disadvantages. First thing, you are likely now to get healthier babies, less medical costs in the future, less abortions. How is this possible? Look, if you're only implanting healthy embryos, then you are reducing the chance of abortions. That's a problem, right? So what are we going to do about all these embryos we decided not to implant? So some of them might be even healthy, but we can't implant every single embryo. Errors. We can't be testing every single allele while they're picking their embryos, the healthy ones. Some pairs might be tempted to pick other traits. You already have all the embryos. So she told me, well, pick me a girl. I want to have a girl, I don't want to have a boy. And the other way around. That is also possible. And with the advancement of medicine, they might be even picking other traits. So which opens the door for what they call designer babies. That was the problem I was telling you about there, right? DNA of this child has already been exposed before he was even born. So that's another issue. So they ask you next time to discuss advantages, disadvantages of pre-implantation test. These are all the issues.